This is an unrehearsed program. The views expressed are those of the guests and not necessarily those of the producer. Today's topic:
controversy about anti-conversion legislation in India in Passion for Truth, award-winning program.
Welcome to another edition of Passion for Truth. What is the objective of anti-conversion legislation which has been enacted in several states of India? What is the basis for imposing harsh penalties with regard to conversion of lower caste and scheduled tribes? All next with our panelists, Fred Peterson, counter-terrorism advisor, Dr. Joseph Annunziata with expertise on international affairs. As a former professor, Dr. Annunziata was an advisor to the Assistant Secretary of Defense on international issues. He was also a senior staff member at the White House. Surekha Vij, journalist from New York. She has written articles for the Washington Times and several other newspapers. Roger Severano, legal counsel from the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty. Welcome you all. Starting with you, Roger, what is the objective of anti-conversion legislation in India?
Well, the history is a long one with anti-conversion efforts in India. It was really solidified in law only in the 70s in two states, Orissa being one of them. And it was kind of dormant for quite a long time. Only in very recent times have we seen a rush to pass a new set of anti-conversion laws. And what we see going on in the background is that many states where there's a heavy majority of Hindus, they fear a growing presence of largely Christian minorities. It's a bit ironic because in these states where the laws are being passed, the Hindu majorities are overwhelming. There is no actual threat of large-scale conversions out of Hinduism into Christianity or any other religion. And what we have seen in the political realm, there's been a tying in of nationalism with religious identity in India, which is often a very volatile mix. So we see these laws being pushed more as a political tool, not really in response to massive conversions. The facts really don't show that the number of Hindus has dropped. But it is being used as sort of a political weapon to create, in essence, a majority-minority complex, where the majority feels they're being threatened and they must act, they must pass laws, and meanwhile, a very small minority of Christians who have been there, frankly, since Thomas the Apostle came in the time of Christ to India. So they've been there for a very, very long time. And they feel as if the majority has to find a way to keep the minority down.
Surekha, harsher, is there a threat because the majority of Hindus that he's talking about, the lower caste in Hindus, are more prone to convert to Christianity?
I don't agree completely what he said. I think what's going on over there is at times when the Christians missionaries are converting, trying to convert, if they were trying to give the values of the religion, it's different. But if there's some poor people are forced with a bag of rice or something, and I think that's not done. And then after that they are neglected, and it's not like it's a continuous thing. The missionaries get the money and the funding on the name of how many people they recruit to this. It's like a recruiting. So recently I read an article, they kidnapped like about 20 old people who were sitting under a mango tree, and this truck came and they just put them in the truck and took them. And
who took them?
Missionaries. So nobody knew what happened to them in Calcutta. And then after some time they found that what happened to the old men who used to sit there. They said they were kidnapped, they were taken by the police. They said no, they were not the police, they were the missionaries. So somehow they found out that they were taken to some old folks' homes where they were getting funds from the missionaries, and they said we recruit more people so we can show the number and then we can get more funds. So this is kind of a tragedy what's happening right now.
Joe, have the Christian priests, you think, given reasons to prompt such law, anti-conversion law?
To do what?
Have the Christian priests given reasons to the Indian public to prompt such law, anti-conversion law? Have they been...
Well, I think there are some Christians who are aggressive in converting. But there are others that are doing good works. There are people who have hospitals, They have schools. They help poor people. They provide all kinds of social services and education to everyone, not just the lower castes. There are prime ministers who have gone to Catholic schools. In fact, that's sort of a prestige thing, to send your children to a Catholic school. And I think in those institutions, there is not a lot of pressure on the people to convert. And a lot of people will do it voluntarily. People say, these they're not always priests, but they are nuns or brothers, other kinds of people. They are doing good work. They're helping India. They're helping the poor people. I think that is a nice religion. That's a nice group of people, and I would like to associate myself with those. So you have to distinguish between some who are very, very aggressive, and they're just looking for numbers. How many people can we say we have enrolled into our religion? And I think those are the ones that really should be either arrested or asked to leave the country when they do engage in that kind of pressure.
India, Fred, is objecting to only forcible or fraudulent conversions. What's wrong with that?
I will say that the situation we have today in India and the resurgence of religious identification after a period of somnolence is a reflection of an uncomfortability on the part of the people with external threat or a threat to national identification and hegemony as much as it is to their own religious identification. Christians have been in India for more than 1,000 years, and Christians have done, and other sects have done much good work in India. Mother Teresa being one, a saint of the Catholic Church and widely respected within India, was respected by all parties for the work she has done. I agree that there may be anecdotal evidence of aggressive recruiting on the part of individuals, yet it is the threat to from the outside. There is an emergence of religious identification throughout the world today that is challenging from the outside, and therefore I see this as a defensive measure in an attempt to reassert nationality and reassert a cultural identity as much as it is a religion. And I don't think, to answer your question,
I don't think there's anything wrong in that, to establish a cultural identity. Because in Japan...
I'm not saying that there is.
It's a part of
Yes.
your conversation. In Japan, when Buddhism went there, and the Japanese people got worried that they would lose their own religion, like which is Shintoism. But eventually what happens is they absorbed Buddhism along with the Shintoism. So they got the good points of that, they got the good points of, because Buddhism wasn't telling them to either you become Buddhist or you go to hell. So that's what Christian missionaries are doing in India. Why can't, I mean, in Hinduism, in Sikhism, in Jainism, in other sects of India, anybody can believe anything and they accept it. I mean, in China, there's Confucianism and Taoism, and then Buddhism went and they accepted it. And the Buddhism didn't say that, okay, if you don't become Buddhist, you're going to go to hell. But that's what the Christian missionaries tell in India. Because I've been through that. You know, every time you stand on a bus stop or you go to a train, the people will come with a banner and they'll start saying, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to go to hell. I mean, this is...
We hear that in Central Park in New York City every day.
An uneducated way of doing it.
And
if it was just a way of helping people, why don't you tell them, okay, Jesus is also good, but whatever you believe, they have beliefs. It means that my ancestors, what they wrote the books, what the wisdom they gave us is all stupid.
Well,
That's what they're telling everybody.
Roger, how do you respond to all this? That the Christian priests have been overly aggressive in converting people through kidnappings, through slogans that devalue the religious identity of the people. Is there a basis for that?
Well,